Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the final live stream of 2021. It's the Christmas break from this after this one, and then we'll be back in the early part of January. Now, for the biggest part of the live stream this evening, we're just going to have some sort of jolly chat. Some other family party people from the leadership team are joining me. I'm going to talk about various Christmas things. And we're introducing something unique later on. We're experimenting. We've never done this before. Is we're going to give the opportunity for other people to, those of you watching, will also be able to appear on screen and chip in with some of the things. So we're experimenting with that because we might do that in some of the serious ones in the future as well. So in a little while, I'll post the link in the comment sections on YouTube and Facebook. If you're watching on Twitter, you'll need to go to YouTube or Facebook. But then if you click on that, we will have the opportunity to bring you on screen. Now, if you don't end up coming on screen, that might just be we've got a lot of people waiting and you don't quite get to the front of the queue. But we'll try and give people an opportunity to come on and join in the fun later on. But before we get there, I've got some of the usual sort of news items to cover. Now, do make comments as usual. I'll try and pick up on some of those. So what's happened in the last week? Well, we've had the budget. What is there to say about that from a family point of view? Well, something we've always said is that large families are discriminated against by council tax. Because if you've got a big family, you need a big house. If you have a big house, then you pay more council tax. So a couple, for example, with no children who might have the same income, live in a smaller house, spend the money on world cruises and exotic holidays or whatever, they will pay less council tax, whereas the person contributing to the continuation of society with their family, they get hit with council tax because they need a bigger house. So that was an existing problem, but the budget is going to make that even worse because there's a shift towards council tax going up. Council tax going up because basically the Scottish government's cutting their funding to councils, but then councils are going to have to raise council tax. So that's going to be another disincentive to people having larger families. So the government claims to be concerned about population decline, and yet their policies seem to be encouraging it. They just haven't got the idea at all of how to encourage or enable people to have as many children as they would really like to. Now, last week on the live stream, I mentioned that I'd listened to Good Morning Scotland on the BBC when they were talking about assisted suicide. And Dr. Gordon Macdonald of Care Not Killing was on the programme. And the programme went as it normally does on the BBC. Kay Adams, the presenter, really understanding them. And, thanks for sharing that with us. We really appreciate you coming on. Have you got anything else to say? And then it got to Gordon Macdonald, who was arguing against assisted suicide. And all of a sudden, she becomes a dragon, interrupting him constantly. How do you know that? What's your source for that? Does everyone agree? Etc. Really, really hostile. Now, being really hostile is fine if that's the style of the show, but you've got to treat everyone the same. So it was really blatant. You couldn't miss the total change of gear once Gordon Macdonald came in. So I actually took the time just to do a quick complaint to the BBC. To be honest, I don't normally bother with this sort of thing because basically it doesn't make any difference. The only reason I do it is to get the BBC's reply to point out how ridiculous they are in their reply. I don't actually have any hope that you're going to change the whole opinion of the BBC. Anyway, so the reply came just an hour or so ago. And they basically said, yeah, we've watched it and we think she wasn't biased. I mean, that's it. I mean, how anyone could possibly watch that and not see such an obvious change between the way she treated some people and the way she treated Dr. Macdonald was just completely unbelievable. But that's all the BBC has to do. They just have to say, yeah, we disagree. Bye-bye. That's the end of that. Very, very frustrating. It just reminds me of the case in the Scottish Parliament as well with Emma Roddick, when she just lied through her teeth in the Parliament. And you challenge her about it, try and follow the processes. And at the end of the day, there's maybe nothing you can do. People just get away with it. While we're on the subject of news outlets, media outlets, TV, in fact, I just thought I'd give a mention to GB News. Now, I've been on GB News a few times, 4 times, I think, maybe. But I just wanted to say, I've just got a slight concern about GB News as well. very positive about it. I think it really is filling a gap in the market. A lot of people appreciate it. I watch it sometimes. So overall, I think that's great. It's allowing a greater diversity of viewpoints to be heard. But from a Scottish family party point of view, my slight concern is that, for example, the leader of the Reform Party, which used to be the Brexit Party, he seems to be on it very regularly. So that's getting beamed into Scotland, and people are seeing him very regularly. In the last election, we got 3 times as many votes as them. 3 times as many votes. And yet people in Scotland watching GB News are being given the impression that, you know, the Reform Party, they're the big party. They're really important. They're someone who's getting a platform. So I'm slightly worried about that. So if ever the inclination takes you, you can maybe fire off a message to GB News one way or another and just say, you know, where's the Scottish Family Party in this? Because it would be fair for them to have a bit more exposure than they've got at the moment. Right, a few more things to mention quickly. Our conference content is all online now on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So if you haven't caught up with everything from the conference, if you weren't there, or if you want to watch anything again, if you were there, then that is there. I mean, lockdown restrictions, well, not advice from Nicola Sturgeon, that's all in the news. Just to reiterate our policy, I mean, we do oppose any further restrictions due to the coronavirus. So Nicola Sturgeon's given advice. I suppose she can give as much advice as she likes, but when it comes to actually introducing restrictions, then that's something that we are still opposed to. And something else to mention as well. I mean, this week there is a big conference going on. I put it on social media, the International Conference on Men's Issues, sort of men's rights activist conference. And I've been involved with that. I was helping to host it yesterday. My conference speech from the Family Party conference is going to be played to the conference delegates later in the week, and I'm going to do a question and answer thing. Now, with men's rights activists, I agree with them on a lot of issues. A lot of what they say really overlaps with Scottish Family Party policy. But I suppose the difference is in the Family Party, we're definitely saying, you know, we're not interested in identity politics. We don't want a battle of the sexes mentality. Whereas with men's rights activists, sometimes, not with all of them, not with our own Philip Tanzer, for example, but with some of them, you get the impression that they are like feminists in reverse. It is identity politics. They start seeking grievances on behalf of men and entering politics on that basis. Now, some might say that's a necessary corrective to the situation we find ourselves in, where as a form of feminism has become all-powerful and has resulted in advantages for women, disadvantages for men. So in the light of that, how do you go forward? Well, you do need people to point out that that's happening. But the Family Party's approach is to be aware that that's happening, but then not to become the sort of male version of feminists, but to say, we're just not interested in this game. We don't want to see everything through the gender lens. We just want to see issues for what they are and deal with them regardless of gender. But the conference has been very interesting. I've been learning a lot and been made to think about a few things as well. One quick last thing to mention, although Elon Musk has been stirring things up a bit by talking about his fears about population decline and urging people to have more children. So I think he's being quite prophetic there, but because the usual line from the celebrities is just to have less children to save the planet. But I think he's seen the problems that are coming our way because of population decline, not just in Scotland, not just in the UK, not just in Europe, but worldwide. I saw just this week, I think India's fertility rate has dipped below replacement. So India is now, the population might not start declining immediately, but is on the path towards population decline. So this is a very different world situation that we're heading into. And I think a lot of people are neglecting it at their peril. So, right, let me explain what's going to happen next. Well, let's first of all welcome our guests. So, welcome, Michael. Your microphone's off at the moment. If you want to turn that on. Mike Willis, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have seen Mike before, the chairman of the Scottish Family Party, joining us from Stirling.
Hi, Richard. Hi, viewers.
It's a very atmospheric candle in the background there. Very good.
Well, and, I saw your Christmas tree, so I thought I'd get my Christmas candle out.
The Christmas show last year, I did it with Phil Tanzer, and I've got my little Christmas tree behind. And he had a huge, very impressive Christmas tree. So he definitely won that one. But right, we have Elizabeth Leslie.
Good
In
evening.
Aberdeen. Elizabeth is our Aberdeen chairman. I don't know why I do that. I always say Edinburgh instead of Aberdeen. I did it at the last Aberdeen meeting. So Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you.
We were just saying earlier on, you look like sort of the snow queen there.
I got Abigail.
It's
with
very
me
cold
too.
in your house. What's the dog's name?
Princess Abigail.
Princess Abigail. Right. Okay. Nice to meet you, Abigail. And we also have Deputy Leader of the Family Party, Phil Holden, with us.
Hi.
Hello, Phil. Oh, Phil's frozen. Elizabeth looks frozen. Phil has frozen. No, he's back. He's back.
Good.
Now, Phil, would you like to make a confession about your decorations there behind you?
Yes, they were put up in the last second. Richard said it's not very Christmassy there.
Sorry?
You said it's not very Christmassy there, so I had to run away and get some decorations.
Yeah. So they're not the best, but it's a start. It's better than nothing. So, right now, we might have another person or two join us later on. But what we're going to do is just have a chat about some sort of Christmassy things. And I say be ready to join us. In fact, what I will do now, I will get the link to join us. And I am now going to put that in the comments. And if you want to, if the topic we're talking about, you'd like to come in with something, a story or an example yourself, then click on the link and you'll appear. If you're going to click on the link, you obviously need a camera there as well, a webcam or whatever, pointing at you, microphone turned on, camera turned on. So just think about the technical things, but we'll look forward to seeing you. Right, so that is just going up in the comments. There it is. According to my screen, that's appeared. So let's see. Right, hello, John. Hello, Jack. Hello, the other John as well. Right, so I thought we'd talk about some Christmas things. Where shall we start? Let's how about Christmas food? Christmas food. It's funny, isn't it? There's some types of food are just Christmas foods. Any favorites from anyone?
Can I kick off?
Yes,
Elizabeth.
Everything.
Everything.
Clootie dumpling.
Wow.
Now, that's really terrible. I know that's a real Scottish thing. I can't quite remember what they are. Remind me.
It's like a dumpling, and it was cooked in water, but there was always money in it. Right?
All right.
So you didn't eat it for the dumpling; you ate it to get the money.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Thruppeny
Did anyone
people.
do the money in the Christmas pudding thing? Has anyone actually really done that?
Oh yes.
We did used to do it when we were very young.
Uh-huh. I mean, is it not a bit dangerous?
It
Yes.
probably is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was always a threepence in my
Thruppence,
day, or a sixpence.
6 penny.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they said it was in there, but I can't ever remember being the one to find one. So I
Uh-huh.
think it just encouraged us to eat this pudding, which I was never terribly fond of. Far too rich.
Just yeah, I don't like Christmas pudding, I have to say. Okay, we've got another Clootie dumpling fan. Okay, right, very good. Very good. Right, anyone else? Foods?
So we'd normally have lamb or duck, I think, for Christmas. Never turkey, really.
What?
But really
What?
enjoy.
Who is this heretic?
Lamb is good. Lamb with red currant jelly. Very nice.
On Christmas Day?
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
And beef if we're at my grand's. We'd always have beef at my grand's, basically.
Right. Can anyone back me up here? I mean, is Phil a heretic or what? I'm considering removing him from the stream for saying such unorthodox things. I'm quite shocked, Phil. But okay. I mean, why did that happen? I mean, did people not like turkey, or were it just a
I think
rebellious
it's sort of
family,
like turkey is not as nice, basically, as other meats.
Right, I think that's a poor defense in my view. I mean, do you agree, Elizabeth?
Absolutely.
Michael, you think it's just heresy?
Well, fortunately, we go out most Christmas lunches, and this lovely lady, it's up to her what she cooks, and it's never turkey. So, so we're quite pleased to escape the traditional turkey lunch. But you're obviously a traditionalist, Richard, and I never
Absolutely,
knew it's part
Traditional family values.
of party policy that you had to eat turkey at Christmas.
I think we could consider that on the forum. I'm one as well. I mean, like, there's some foods that you can have at breakfast time, and there's some foods that is just wrong to have at breakfast, isn't there? Would you agree with that, even, Phil? Would you have lamb for breakfast?
Yeah, I think that's true. Like, my daughter is often like saying, "Oh, can I have some apple pie for breakfast or something like that?"
I mean, it's just wrong, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've got an interesting comment here from Jack. An interesting perspective. Christmas is not in the Bible, and traditions like it are a sin. Now, right, avoiding facetiousness. Would anyone like to make any comment on that? Just to say, I mean, Elizabeth, I'm right in saying you're a Buddhist. Is that right?
It's kind of right. It's a long
Right,
story.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So just to make it clear that we're not all sort of coming from the same direction here.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What would you say to that, Phil?
I was struggling to understand it. give me the interpretation of it, and I'll see if I agree or not. You have to bring it up again so I can see what it said. So Christmas is not the Bible,
Not in the Bible.
traditions like it are a sin. Christmas is not in the Bible. Okay, Christmas is not in the Bible, and traditions like it are a sin. Okay, I guess it's that thing that maybe it originated from a pagan festival or something like that, and there's those kind of connotations. I think for me, it's what you make of it, basically. That if you turn it into a pagan celebration, then that's what it is. If you use it to remember what's central to the Christian faith, if you're a Christian, then I think there's an opportunity there. And for me, one of the steps in me becoming a Christian, because I was an atheist up to the time I was about 18, was some Christians inviting me to a Christmas service. And so it was actually something useful that they had these Christmas carol services, and loads and loads of students would turn up to them just because they liked the tradition of them, but they used it as an opportunity to share their faith. So I don't mind that.
I would say choosing to celebrate something that's good is just automatically good. If you're celebrating something that deserves celebrating, I really can't see a problem with that myself. Right, who else have we got? Now, someone's got bringing up a very weighty issue here. Right, used to finish off leftover Brussels sprouts. I mean, what's the consensus opinion on Brussels sprouts?
Well, wouldn't you always fry them up with the leftover potatoes? Probably a day or so after Boxing Day, so they're pretty well matured by then.
Yeah. And
I forget the name of that dish, but it's very tasty. And you can chuck in bits of those turkey that you're recommending, Richard, that's left over, and fry it all up. Add some sauces, and a very nourishing post-Christmas meal. But I wouldn't recommend it for breakfast.
No, absolutely not.
So they have to be used.
Yeah.
And, but for many, a total nightmare on Christmas Day to have to eat a fresh Brussels sprout.
Do you think children should be forced to eat them?
I was never a fan as a child, so I'd give them a miss.
Now, would it not have been character building though if you were?
Probably.
I've heard that Brussels sprouts contain. Don't check this on the internet. Please don't check. This might be completely wrong. That would spoil it. Okay, so I don't want to know in the comments if my story is wrong. Okay, but I heard that Brussels sprouts contain something like a tiny amount of arsenic, maybe, or it might have been cyanide. Anyway, something that's poisonous. And in young children, their body just says, "Do not eat this. It's poisonous." but later on you grow out of that a little bit, so you can find them pleasant. But there is a scientific reason why children don't like Brussels sprouts.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah,
but I still think as a character building thing, it's good to make them eat them.
I think I found that recently that, my wife quite likes Brussels sprouts, and I'd normally just not go near them. And I'm thinking, actually, these taste all right now. So, there might be some truth in that.
Yeah. Elizabeth, what were you going to say?
Smother them in butter. Whole different experience.
The what, sorry?
Smother them in butter.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of pepper
Okay.
helps as well. Right, let's have a look. We've got some more. Right, cranberry sauce. Yeah, I mean, that's a fairly uncontroversial. In fact, I'm not a cranberry sauce fan myself. I don't really get the idea of having jam with a savoury meal, but lots of people do. I maybe think about a policy on that as well. Right, we talked about sprouts. Right, Jack's got a Bible verse for us. We'll maybe look at that in a minute, Jack. Let's stay on lighter matters. I had a tunnocks tea cake for breakfast this morning. Are we universal in our condemnation of that?
Yeah, I think 10:30.
Yeah,
That's
11 o'clock you could have it. Not.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacqueline, really, everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. We're quite shocked. The sort of deviant behaviour.
Could you tell me what it is?
A tunnocks tea cake.
Uh-huh.
Someone want to explain what a tunnocks tea cake
It's like
a digestive biscuit with a lot of marshmallow foam on top, covered in chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the Scottish version of something that exists in England as well, but a bit bigger in Scotland, which is a good thing.
Tonic tea cake.
Right. Okay. Right. I'm struggling to tell if Jack's serious or not with that comment. I'll assume that you are, but I think that seems.
Can I come in, Richard? Can I come in on some of that? I think the Dutch, coming from a mixed race family here, where the half Dutch, Frisian, I suppose, and the rest of us are Angles. They always split. The Christmas is 100% religious festival, and then all the merrymaking is the 5th of December, which is St. Nicholas, and that's when you get your presents. So it's like a precursor. It's a precursor to the big feast. But Christmas Day is 100% a religious celebration, and there's no particularly special foods. It all happens on the 5th. So it's quite a good wheeze to have a lot of fun on the 5th, also on the 24th and 25th, and I suppose on Epiphany. I think the Spanish celebrate Epiphany, don't they? So for the presents, you can have 3 lots of presents as you move around Europe. But the Dutch split it that way, and I think that that might be a solution for Jack.
Yeah. It's
What do you think?
It's a possibility. Actually, with the Dutch celebrations, has there not been controversy about that there was some sort of blackface character? Was that a Christmas thing, or was that some other time of year?
Yeah, look, can I tell you about that? That's the St. Nicholas festival on the 5th.
Right.
Now, St. Nicholas, he arrives in Holland on a steamboat from North Africa, and accompanying St. Nicholas are a whole load of black Peters, or they call them Zwarte Piet, and they're basically white men and women who black themselves up, put on big wigs, put earrings in their ears, lots of red lipstick, and they dress up in medieval uniforms, and they accompany St. Nicholas around Holland, and it's quite scary actually, because Black Peter will put naughty children into the sack, into his empty present sack, because he's bringing presents for the good children, and that naughty child gets taken back to North Africa. And the controversy is that they're saying, of course, this is racist to black up, to appropriate, this cultural way of life, because they also speak in a sort of West Indian accent, and they've been doing that for about 200 years.
Uh-huh.
So there's great big battles going on in Holland on December the 5th amongst the anti-racists and the traditionalists. I'm not sure which side of the fence we'd be on, Richard.
And it's been a massive issue in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
hasn't it? It's been a political issue.
Yeah,
There's been huge protests things about it.
yeah. But we've always celebrated it here, that feast. And I mean, probably, they're likely to make it illegal over there. And I suppose if I was to do something similar here, I should do it really incognito and not make too much fuss about it.
It's probably missed out the putting children in the sacks as well.
I know.
That must have been really, really naughty, obviously. Now, Bruce, we've been quite shocked with some of Bruce's opinions in the past, but this really is outrageous. So he's referring to Jacqueline, who said she has tunnocks tea cakes for breakfast. And it says the condemnations are from jealous people subjected to cereal with probably more sugar. I mean, shall I ban him for this sort of? I think I should just ban him for this sort of comment.
Well, I mean, Bruce has been good value over the years, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's taken it too far here, I think.
Yeah.
It's a final warning, Bruce. I mean, any more comments like that, you're off. We're very replying to Bruce. Yeah, okay. No added sugar muesli. Okay. I washed it down with Iron Brew Energy. Tunnocks tea cake and Iron Brew for breakfast. If you were a child and that got reported, if the school got wind of that, that'd be reported to a social worker and the named person or whatever. There'd be a new government policy covering that, but I'm sure there already is, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I think we've probably done with food. How about Christmas films? Any favourites? Okay, commenters as well. Come on, chip some things in. And no one's coming in to appear on the screen yet. I mean, Bruce, I can understand that you're very embarrassed. That's fair enough. But anyone else, you're very welcome. Any favourite Christmas films?
White Christmas.
White Christmas,
White
great.
Christmas.
Yeah. Can I chip in with the Griswold's Family Christmas?
I don't know that one.
Oh, well, let's put it on your bucket list, Richard.
Okay. Tell us about it.
It's got a slightly sort of North American, Canadian feel about it, Elizabeth, because they go down and chop their own tree down from out in the outback in the snow. But anyway, it's just one disaster after another with this family, and all the wrong family come to visit them. And putting up the lights is a disaster. So it's a lot of fun, that other people's Christmases are a lot worse than yours. It's a must-see.
What's it called? The Griswold?
The Griswold's Family Christmas.
Right. We've got Home Alone. Yeah. So it's okay. Quite good. Yeah. Oh, hang on. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, that's a good film, isn't it? I like that one. You seen that film?
I think I've caught bits of it. I remember kind of watching it when I was a child. I don't know if I watched it all the way through, but I've seen some of it. I don't know if I enjoyed it that much or appreciated it that much at the time.
Polar Express. Can't say I think I've seen that. I can't say I was a fan of that one.
No, I wasn't a fan of that.
Right,
I had to watch that later in life with some children.
Trigger warning. I'm going to bring some comments from Bruce. So the following content may be offensive to some viewers. Trading Places. Yeah, I thought that was quite good. Die Hard. I watched that with my son a few weeks ago. I thought it's absolutely atrocious. It's appalling, terrible film. I mean, nothing wrong with it in terms of message or anything, but it's just dire, unbelievable, whatever. Anyone else want to put the boot into any of those films or spring to their
Well,
defense?
I think Die Hard 3 had a bit of a Christmas setting about it, didn't it? It all took place over Christmas. So
Yeah.
I suppose Bruce has got a point.
Yeah.
But
I think our film policy needs developing. I mean, the Vatican has a list of approved films, doesn't it? Maybe the family party could have something similar. It's when you have a list of banned films that you should really start getting worried.
yeah, in the good old days, there was certainly the index. So books and films were placed on the index, and you were not allowed to watch them. So perhaps we can consign all of Bruce's suggestion to consign it to history. Oh, here's another one, Dominic.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Brilliant.
I have to say, I'm disappointed with the quality of our clientele sometimes. I mean, the original old black and white Christmas Carol, I really like that one. That's really good. That would be my favorite film. I think I really like that, and The Grinch as well. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I think that Muppets Christmas Carol, is that the one with Michael Caine playing the miser, the Scrooge. Does Scrooge come into that one? I think he does. And he sings along with the Muppets, doesn't he?
It's much too lowbrow for me. but Dominic, we really appreciate giving us the perspective from people who appreciate that sort of thing. That's great. Sound of Music. I watched The Sound of Music for the first time in my life last year. I'd seen bits of it probably every year forever, and I thought it was fairly good. It was okay. Any other comments on The Sound of Music?
I've only seen bits of it and not seen the whole thing. I think they played it every year, and we caught a bit of it every year.
Is it a Christmas film?
I don't know if it is or not.
I don't think it's a Christmas film, but
No.
I enjoy it.
It's quite quiet, Elizabeth. Can you get closer to your microphone? Or
I said I don't think it's a Christmas film, but I absolutely enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's a film that's shown at Christmas. So, John, we'll give you a yellow card for that. That's not actually a Christmas film, but we can see why you said it. Elf. I've seen that. I don't remember particularly enjoying that. But anyone else seen that?
Possibly. Nothing memorable about it. I think I have seen it, but I don't remember anything about it.
Anyway, Ansel Mann says something's incredible, but I'm afraid I'm not quite sure what that was referring to. So you can tell us what you meant. Okay, right. Let's have a look at another question. How about Christmas traditions or Christmas happenings that you've been involved in? Any sort of favorite traditions or unusual family traditions? That's a good question. Yeah, sometimes. I'm quite offended by that, actually. Okay, someone else on last warning before they get back.
Well, I hate to admit that we tend to go for a walk, but I suppose that could be Boxing Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's you feel we should all, when all the family were at home, that we should go and stretch our legs somewhere. And there's a lovely little sort of Monroe at the back of the university, which is quite a steep climb, after all that turkey and Christmas pudding. You don't want to lose any children up there. That's for certain. So something as mundane as a good country Scottish walk after the celebrations of Christmas.
Yeah. I think it's good psychologically because you fool yourself that you're working off all those extra calories, don't you?
Yeah.
Even though you've just walked off about one mince pie in total, but it just makes you feel like you've redressed the balance a little bit. Any other traditions, strange or familiar?
So when I was little, my gran was an artist, and so we'd always have a theme every year that she'd decorate the house with. So one year it would be sort of everything to do with Venice. Another year it would be sort of oranges and lemons, things like that. And so we'd spend ages sort of decorating the house according to that theme, and she'd teach us how to make and do different crafts and things like that. So I remember making oranges and lemons by dipping a toothbrush in paint and spraying it onto these I guess masks and things like that to create these things. And also making candles as well. So we'd melt up lots of candles on the hob, and then create candles by melting down other candles and make them rainbow colored and things, and make these kind of wax icicles and things like that as well.
Very risky for the carpet.
Yeah.
Just say to Jack, I mean, Jack, you may be quite right. Maybe this is not the live stream for you. If you've got that particular opinion, that's absolutely fine. That's nothing to do with the Scottish Family Party. But yeah, maybe you're right. If it's you hold the opinions you do, then this is probably not something you're going to particularly enjoy. So that's maybe a good move. You said about peel. We said about orange peel somewhere. Phil, wasn't that in there?
It wasn't orange peel. There was a theme of oranges and lemons. I think my gran had an orange tree with tiny oranges. It would produce 1 or 2 tiny oranges a year. And then she said, right, this year we're doing oranges and lemons as a theme. And so we created these long sort of banners of oranges and lemons and all sorts of different artwork around that.
Has anyone ever seen orange peel teeth? Yeah, they're great, aren't they? So you take a bit of orange peel, about that much, and you turn it inside out so the white is on the outside. And then you take a sharp knife and cut into it teeth, and then put it sort of behind your lips. And you can have whatever the sort of teeth you like. I mean, for kids, it is absolutely hilarious. Partly because they look absolutely brilliant. And then if you try and talk as well, that's hilarious. So there's a tip for everyone: make orange peel teeth this Christmas. It's very, very funny.
I can share a tradition that for many years on Christmas Eve I would go to my Polish girlfriend, and she would put this spectacular dinner on, and I think it was 13 foods. There had to be 13 different foods. And before the dinner, we would each be given a wafer, and we had to break pieces off and talk to each other about what we wished for the upcoming year. And it was such a good tradition because it really made you think about the person and what you wanted for them. It was quite lovely. Yeah,
that's nice. We've got a few here from the audience. Midnight Mass services, indeed. Yep. Kate, opening one present each after church candlelight service on Christmas Eve. Right, I haven't heard of that one, but that sounds good. Do you open the biggest or the smallest then? That's an interesting one. Right. So that's it for the comments for now. I mean, other traditions. Years ago, when my nieces were young, I went around to my sister's house on Christmas Eve to deliver their presents. So they were in bed. And my sister did the putting out a couple of mince pies for Santa Claus and a glass of something or other. And she also put out a carrot for the reindeers. And the idea is the girls come in the morning, the carrot's gone and the mince pie, there's just some crumbs on the plate or whatever. So I turned up and saw these there. I thought, I'll contribute to the realism. So I sort of chewed through the carrot and threw most of it over the hedge and just left this sort of chewed end of the carrot there. I think maybe I had the mince pies or left some crumbs. So my sister came out and said, "Oh, look what I've done. I've helped you with your game." She said, "I need you that carrot for lunch tomorrow." So beware. Right. Any more traditions, or should we move on to something else?
Well, I've got to say that with that Black Peter, with my children, I would put on a black glove. Wasn't doing all the full makeup, but they knew Black Peter was coming on the evening of the 5th. And of course, they're cowering in the corner, terrified they're not going to be put in a sack and taken off to Morocco. But then the Black Hand would come through the glass. I'd open the doors and then just throw these sweets. You'd throw a big handful of sweets. And then they'd all scramble for those sweets, and they would be told they're all good. And then I would disappear. But anyway, one of my grandchildren, Clemmy, she wrote this up in her school. One of his essays, what did I do over the weekend? And then there was this Black Peter guy coming with a sack to take people away to North Africa. But he threw all these sweets on the floor. And then the teacher wrote very diplomatically, she said, oh, my word, Clemmy, you have had an exciting weekend.
That would be scanned in straight to social work now, I think.
Yeah.
Talking about our children saying about what they've been doing at the weekend. This is not a Christmas story, but years ago, when one of my sons was at primary school, we went for a walk at the end of the summer holiday, and we came across a field where the wheat had been harvested, but there was just a bit left in the corner. So we got a bit of it, rubbed it between our hands to get the husk off, got the grains, filled the pockets up, went home, ground it, and Mary made it into cookies. So we ground the wheat or whatever it is, made our own cookies, and ate them. And then my son went to school the next day, and he came home. We said, right, what did you do today? He said, oh, we were learning about how you make bread, about how you sort of mill the wheat or whatever, and get the flour and then use it to make things. I thought, oh, right, that's coincidence. That's exactly what we did yesterday, isn't it? So what else did you do at school? So we had to write a story about what we did at the weekend. I thought, right, we're in pole position to be like parents of the century here. We're going to get a special award from the school. So he said, what did you write about? What did you tell them you did? He said, we watched the DVD. Said we watched the DVD. I've never forgiven him. Never would. I was parent of the year in the making, but that was that. Now, there's some people on the Santa issue here, we're suggesting Santa is not real. I mean, what's anyone's take on Santa? Did you all do the Santa thing with kids or not?
We don't.
We didn't either.
We just let the kids know it's mum and dad. They do get something, but they know it's mum and dad.
Did you do the Santa thing, Michael?
Yeah, we kept that going as long as possible, and well, we had this mixture of St. Nicholas and Santa Claus. So eventually, I'm sure that confused them and probably blew the whole lid on it. And how similar they looked, with this sort of white beard. But yeah, it was. We kept it going as long as possible, and I just remember that was a lovely time as a kid. What was the problem for you, Phil? Did you just feel it's confusing them?
Yeah, I think it is something to do with faith, really, as well. That I think for many people, that and maybe for me when I wasn't a Christian, I saw your parents lie to you about Santa Claus. They also tell you, you also go to church and things like that, and that whole sort of mythology is going on there. And you grow up, you realize like Santa Claus isn't real, kind of thing. And so, yeah, just sort of, I think it's important that children can trust you in that area in that sense. But interestingly, the more I'd say like, this isn't real, the more my daughter would think it was.
The extra fun you get when your kids don't believe in Santa Claus is it's hilarious when other adults are assuming that they do. Some other adults will say, oh, what's Santa Claus bringing for you? And that's when they go, what? That's quite amusing. Anyway, we've got now this is a very interesting, on a more serious note, that's a very good point actually. Santa discriminating against poor kids. He gives more presents to rich kids. That's a really good point. If I was doing a debate on the existence of Santa Claus, I would definitely include that as one of my arguments there. Yeah, I've heard that one before. Thanks for your early Christmas present. Got the bundle of SFP leaflets, books, etc. the other day. Great. Yeah, we sent out hundreds of them to members who weren't at the conference. So glad you got those. I actually sent one to myself as well, just to check that they were actually getting delivered, and mine arrived yesterday, I think. Santa is real. How do we respond to adults with that? Do we play along and be compassionate and understanding, or do we just try and confront them with the truth? What do you feel?
I think we should be compassionate and understanding, and
yeah, I feel that as well. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I like Dominic's picture there. He's looking quite cool, with the hair and the shades.
Yeah.
And I can see he probably does think he's still real. So I don't think we should disabuse him of the idea.
Yeah.
Well,
Donald, we think it's really great that we've got these, people have different views, and we really understand that that's what you're thinking. And so we just want to affirm you in that and say that's really fantastic. If anyone ever discriminates against you or is judgmental about that, you let us know and we'll sort them out. But yeah, that's thanks for sharing that view with us. That's really helpful. Right, what else have we got? Right. Right, there's a few that I don't understand.
Nobody's coming on, are they?
No, come on. Right. Right. Dominic thinks he knows the identity of Santa Claus. Okay. That's fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my St. Nicholas, isn't it?
Yeah. And we've got other people as well taking Dominic's side in the Santa debate. But that's interesting. We'll maybe talk about that another. Maybe next year we'll have a Santa debate. That'd be actually quite fun, wouldn't it? To have a Santa debate for the Christmas special. Right, we're out of comments there for the time being. What else have we got? Right, Christmas music. Christmas music. What would you recommend? What are your favorites?
Well, Adeste Fidelis.
Mm-hmm.
What a great.
Which band's that by?
It's a good one.
I mean, that is so rousing. I think it's more like a processional, at the end of midnight mass would be Adeste Fidelis, and puts you in really good spirits. But so there are so many. What about you, Elizabeth?
Sorry, could you just interrupt, Michael? I'll just take you off the screen for a minute. Just give me. Right, if we all pretend we don't know it, let's see if we can get him to sing it. Okay.
Hey.
Right, Michael, we just say we don't know that one.
You just got promoted.
I mean, I could get my wife in. She's got an excellent voice.
Now, we're sure you could do it too. No? Oh.
No.
Okay, Elizabeth, what were you saying? Christmas music?
I didn't know until this week that this song that I really like is by Wham. Do you know the one? Last Christmas, the very next day he took it away. That one.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's a great song. I play it here, and I can really move around to that one.
Yeah, no, I do like that one, I have to say. Phil, what's your take on that one?
Not a huge Wham fan. My sisters liked it.
No, this one here.
What's that?
Godet, Steel Eye Span.
Yeah.
Don't know them.
Well, Phil, save our coolness. We're going to completely lose the youth vote, I'm guessing, if we don't know what this is. I'm sorry, I haven't heard of that one, I'm afraid.
I've got it. I've got that one. Steel Eye Span, they were like a Northeast folk group, Northeast England folk group, and Gaudete was the sort of, it was a sort of a chant to Our Lady, and it's like a Christmas hymn chant. Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So it's not trendy. We don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, it's still quite trendy. Yeah, it's still hasn't gone away totally. It's probably not in the same field as Wham, so quite traditional, but I think it was a hit. I think it got into the top 40.
Oh, Holy Night. Yeah, I like that one. That's one of my favorites. Last Christmas. Now, is that the one you were saying, Elizabeth? Is that the same one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So two votes for that one. It's in the lead on 2. Our Facebook comments. Yes. Yep, Facebook comments, we're using those. And most of the comments are coming from YouTube, but we are using Facebook ones as well. Right, okay, can't say I know that one. Now, I think Dominic's trying to redeem himself by being all sophisticated, having revealed he believes in Santa. He's now trying to restore his reputation. It'll take more than that, Dominic. 3 votes for Last Christmas. That's soaring into the lead.
But it's all women are voting for that.
This could be Christmas every day. Oh, I know that one. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Anyone know that?
Yeah, Fairy Tale in New York. I generally like upbeat.
Christmas music. 2,000 miles. We've got 2 questions here, Duncan. I mean, is that Christmas? Have I forgotten something about it? And is that the right number as well?
Well,
sure
this
about
is
that
Pretenders 2,000 miles, not Proclaimers.
Oh, right. You're
So
right. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't know that one then. I can't imagine. Yeah, you're going to enlighten us more about that one. I'm showing my ignorance here. I heard that today on the radio. In fact, my wife was playing it on the phone rather in the car. I quite like that when I was young.
Never heard of it.
No?
Yeah, it's good.
I could sing it to you if I could sing.
Stop the counting.
Right. So, yeah, we're not sure about that one. We shall see.
The number of miles keeps going up there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right, so we've done films, we've done music. Okay, how about just more things to do in a holiday? Sort of indoor activities in the holiday. What sort of things do you do? I mean, you have family game nights. That's quite traditional at Christmas. Or do you jigsaw puzzles, or watching the television, or what?
Generally a fair amount of sitting on the sofa, eating some pistachios maybe, playing card games, watching some telly, but maybe not too much.
Is that all of you playing card games?
It's normally like my dad and my sisters, basically. Not so much now, but we did when we were younger.
I've never been a fan of card games. Board games are the thing. Much prefer
Yeah.
board games. Any favourite board games?
I play online Ludo with my 96-year-old uncle.
Oh, okay. Charades.
Yeah.
No, Martin. Yeah, that's fun. That's good. Yeah. 2 votes for that. Monopoly. Now, Jacqueline, sorry to be disagreeing with a lot of things. I think Monopoly is a terrible game because whoever gets ahead, as soon as you're ahead, everything goes in your favor, and you just tend to get further and further ahead. So it's really difficult to come back. So I'm not a Monopoly fan at all. I think there's much better board games, but Twister is a bundle of fun. That's really good. Have you all played Twister? Do you know it?
I'd not be up for it anymore, I don't think.
Well, you're not quite as flexible as you were.
Not as flexible as I once was, no.
Do you not know it, Elizabeth?
No, but we play that game that you put something on your head and somebody has to guess. You have to guess who you are. We do that in the family.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. Well, Twister is like you have a big mat that goes on the floor and it's got coloured circles on, and you spin a spinner, and it tells you that you have to put your left or right foot or hand on that colour. So people do it So it ends up with the people all tangled up with each other on it. It ends up all collapsing in a heap on it. It's a lot of fun.
I think I'll pass.
Okay, Dominic trying to sound all grown up again by saying he plays poker. Yeah. And Quality Street chocolate. Yeah, chocolates. Quality Street. They're a sort of 7 out of 10 for me. I would say I prefer a bit more chocolate in chocolates.
Yeah, like celebrations, for instance.
Yeah. Actually, I've got a chocolate story I will throw in. When I was sharing a flat with someone years ago, they had a great big jar of some sort of chocolates, and I can be a tad weak-willed with chocolates. So he said to me, have a couple if you want to. So I had a couple, and it ended up I had half the jar or something. So the level had gone right down. So I took the sweets out of it. Well, took half of them out, put a couple of tennis balls in, and then put the sweets back in. So it was back up to the right level. And, surprise, my sins found me out, and it was discovered. Monopoly is capitalist. Yeah, that's very grown up again. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because you're right. Because once you're ahead, you win, and you just trample the other people, and they all have to start mortgaging everything, and it's not fair. It's not equal. It's not just. But it's great for learning a little bit about capitalism, isn't it? I mean, it's not. It's ruthless.
Yeah.
And it's good for families though, because you can decide, you can stop, you have to negotiate and not argue, and you've got to stop people like throwing the board, flipping everything up, and storming off. You've got to learn to take defeat, usually at the hands of your father.
That was a fascinating thing when I was teaching in the boarding house. We'd sometimes have a games night, board games, and it'd be interesting how many boys were just not capable of playing a board game, either because they couldn't concentrate on it for long enough, or they just couldn't keep themselves under control. They'd get too animated. It would collapse into a big argument, or they'd storm off or whatever. So yeah, a lot of educational value. Now, Jacqueline, I'm not sure who you're agreeing with there. Now, here was an interesting... Twister is inappropriate. I think there's something in that. I think for kids it's great fun, or with your own family. But I would imagine like at a student party, it could take on a new dimension, let's say. So yes, there is an element that you could be cautious of with Twister.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Dominic. I mean, I'll keep well away from it.
Matchmakers of Christmas chocolate. Now, Jacqueline, at long last, has spoken the truth about something. I mean, that is, that is the truth. So, yeah, well done. All is not lost. Right. It's just coming up for 9 o'clock. Now, no one's appeared, have they? So we wanted to test just to see how it went, bringing people on screen, and no one's come along. I mean, you can just, let's just put it on again. Let's see. So our last call, there's only 1 minute left.
Dominic, come on in.
So I've posted the two things. Right, we've got the, sounds like you guys never win at Monopoly. Do you get very competitive with games? I'm extremely competitive with games. People say it should just be fun, but that is the fun. The fun is trying to win. I don't really get the "can it not just be fun" line. Right, Jacqueline's very proud to have given the right answer to something. What? The equity, most of these games will be unequal and what? No, this is the classic case. There's only one way to communicate that word. You need to come on now and pronounce it for us. Otherwise, we're just completely in the dark. We're completely in the dark. Right, Brian, never mind. We'll be just as silly next Christmas. But that is it. That is 10 o'clock. So thanks for watching. Thanks for chipping in. Thanks for watching. If you're watching it later, say this is our last live stream for 2021. We'll be back. I can't remember the date. A couple of weeks into January. We've got a lot of guests we're going to have lined up in January. So we'll be back to business as usual. But I think that was a bit of fun tonight. So thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Michael. Thanks everyone for watching. And have a great Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, happy Christmas, everyone.
Good night.